guys, I know I was supposed to, I did the Wilkins thing and I was so amped up. I was going to do our DI spot and focus on that. But I'm a mercurial fellow. The winds of emotion, inspiration take me. So I was watching some podcasts that some commenters had asked me to look over. And I was doing studies for one of my members. Derek, I was supposed to put this on the membership channel. And I guess maybe I will in a deeper dig. But Derek wanted me to go over the roster, and I was going to focus on the offensive side, who we got. But watching these videos and then doing the research, I had no choice because I'm weak. My emotions drive me to do a podcast on the depth chart and players and how it's laying out. And I think a lot of stuff is really, really, really clear. There's a little bit of movement, I think, and I think that's the real area of discussion. And depending on the choices that McDaniel and Greer make in one particular department, I think is going to show us a philosophical commitment that's very, very interesting. So that's my whole deal. I'll get you the DI stuff and some other things I'm working on. Derek, I'll make it up to you. I'll do the defense instead. But I can't believe it. People have been saying, why'd you collab with Dudley Do-Wrong? I'm like, I'm like CB squad guys, I'm not getting on there. But Dudley Do-Wrong's always been a very humble character. And he actually invited me on the channel. So I'm going to be on the channel. We're going to record on Friday. I don't know what's going to come out. But B squad, C squad, Curtis is going to the A squad. I feel like I'm going on Johnny Carson's show, It's like I get to, gonna do my big to the national audience. So it's pretty impressive. Really nice guy. He said that viewers on his channel kind of said, put Monkey Boy Curtis on, and there was enough of them to get me on there. So, guys, I want to say thank you. I really do. I thought people like, gassing me up like, yeah. But you guys made it happen. And before I get into the channel, I'm doing my live on Friday at 10 p.m. Come check me out there as well. But I really, 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 really am grateful for all that you guys do. The likes and subscribes, comments. I love the comments. One guy's like, this is too long of a comment. I'm like, dude, I like that. I love it. I learn. I get to have that conversation, my favorite part of the thing. But you guys make all this stuff happen. So I want to give you a shout out and a shout out to A-Spread, my sponsor. So without the two of you, this show ain't going down. Ace-Per-Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, so if you look over McDaniel's roster in 22 and 23, you saw a philosophical shift by the players they kept at position groups, okay? Now, this does not determine what's going to happen in 24. But I think that the way this roster gets laid out in 24, because they've had time to create the roster they want. First year is always like throwing stuff at the wall, like, oh, God. And then the next year, it's kind of like you're drawing it in. And then by the third year, this is like what we want. So in 22, we kept 26 offensive players. We had 8 O-linemen, 5 receivers, 5 tight ends, 3 quarterbacks, 4 RBs, 1 fullback. And then when you go into 23, again, we kept 26 players. So you got to figure we're going to keep 26 offensive players unless this kickoff return thing changes things a little bit. And it might. So there's another variable there we don't have, we can't really pin down right now. But we kept 9 O-linemen. So we went up, we saw that, hey, we kept 8 and we were just like a total mess. We kept 9 and we were still a mess. So I figured they're going to keep 9 again. We went to 6 receivers. We added 1 receiver. We dropped our tight ends from 5 to 3. Same thing, 3 QBs, 4 RBs, and 1 fullback. And when you see that, we shifted away from this big physicality thing with 5 tight ends to more to, hey, we're going to, add that physicality and depth on the offensive line, but we're going to up our receiving group. And so when you go look, here's my little image. Here you can see, all right, so you got a 53-man roster. You got your practice squad, but you -3 from that, the kicker, the punter, and the long snapper. So it's 50. So if you keep 26 offensive players, only 24 in defense. And it seems like 26 is our number, and I expect 26 this year. But you see 3 quarterbacks going to be there. That's not going to move. Tua, Skylar, and White. And then 5 RBs. Every year we keep 4 RBs and 1 fullback. So it's Achane, Mostert. Maybe you could put him in a tight end allocation, but I don't think he's going to be a fullback. Then Wright. Those 4 are clear. And then you might have Wilson, who gets a star. The thing with Wilson, whether you cut him pre-June or post-June, it's $1.3 million. So I have a tendency to think that he's going to be on the roster because he can kind of play some of that physical role, and he's got experience. And you paid him, okay? Now, we only got 2 tight ends that I would say are guaranteed, Smith and Smythe. Receivers 4, OBJ, Hill, Waddle. I definitely think they're going to keep Washington. Then you got 4 tackles, Teron, Lamb, Jackson, and Paul. All those guys are definitely sticking. And then you got 4 guards, Eichenberg, Wynn, Jones, and Driscoll. Although, maybe Jones and Driscoll you move off of, but you got to pay Driscoll a decent amount. I think he's experienced. I don't know. Maybe we move off him from Jones, maybe. But if you want to do any movement on this offense line, one of these guys got to cut, and then 1 for Brewer. So it's 23 total, and that means 2 to 3 spots that you're going to add. But I hear people talking. I know Kyle Krabs was talking, has some really good stuff on trading for a player, an offensive lineman. But I don't think that's going to happen. It could. You could, move off Jones. You could move off Driscoll. I could see that. But I don't know. And I don't think they're moving off Eichenberg, which, if they got rid of him, they'd save $3 million. And I don't think they're moving off Wynn. They committed to him. So I think this is the offensive line that they're going with. Although I don't think Driscoll will be moved. I do think they could move off Jones if they found somebody. But a trade, I think they're more likely to go through camp and then wait to see if a good vet shakes free rather than trade and get some underclass guy that you got to kind of like hope and finagle and stuff like that. Jones, his skill set. He's been involved in here a while. And I think he's a guy you could move off, but you'd rather move off for a vet that is going to do this, this, and this. A project player who's a younger player that you got to pay money and trade value to. I don't think that. I don't see that as what Greer likes to do. Now, you're certainly going to add, I think you're going to go to your 6 wide receivers, which would be 2 more players. And I think you're going to go to the 3 tight ends. That's what we kept last year. And so you've got to add 1 tight end and 2 wide receivers. And the philosophical shift I was talking about is, are we going to go to 4 tight ends and 5 receivers, or is it going to be 6 receivers and 3 tight ends? This is going to tell us a lot about what our intentions are. And a lot of people that know more about special teams, even in the comment section, like all over the joint, like I don't know jack about special teams. They're like, hey, Curtis, this kickoff return thing might favor these tight ends. And so you got Julian Hill and Jody Forts and people who are very high on. These guys could play out for you in the special teams. And so you could go to that 4 tight end and then 5 receiver look. But then you got Berrios, Easy, and Craycraft. And Craycraft, he's not a great receiver, but he knows the system. He blocks like a Dickens. To me, Easy is a very unknown quantity. Berrios is a guy you can get kick returns out of, and he can play that slot role. It's going to be very interesting to see these 5 guys. I think these 5 guys are the ones in question. And you're going to get to pick 3 out of those 5. I don't think Cotton or Tanakana is going to make it. They're gone. Chris Brooks, I think he could stash on the practice squad. I think he's gone. Ahmed, I think he's gone too. And so I think Berrios, Hill, Fortson, Easy, and Craycraft, this is going to be the battleground, along with maybe Jones getting released. You're not going to get rid of Driscoll because he's got so much experience and he plays guard and center. So maybe Jones to get a vet at the end of the training camp when maybe a vet gets cut or something like that. But Berrios, Hill, Fortson, Easy, and Craycraft. And how many of those we keep is going to tell us what we're trying to do. And I think it's going to point in the direction of what McDaniel's vision for the season is going to be. More physical, trying to support the special teams with these tight ends and a bigger look. We're going to see maybe some 12 personnel, or you're going to see some 12 personnel, maybe a lot of 11 personnel, one tight end, one running back, and then 3 receivers. And you're going to want those 6 guys because guys go down. So with 6 wide receivers, you can make sure you're running that 11 personnel the way you want. And so I think that's the whole layout for this deal. I don't see an offensive lineman except just before camp if that comes free. But that's what I'm seeing right now, guys. Let me know what you think. Check me out with Dudley Do Wrong. Real nice guy, man. Just is human, he's a nice guy. He's very humble, and I'm very honored to be on it. Him, Alf have been wonderful guys, big-time guys, giving Curtis a little extra mojo. So come check me out there and check me out on the Friday live. And, guys, I appreciate all you do. Please keep the comments coming. Please keep the support. I really love to do this. I don't like being in front of the camera. I like typing more. My wife told me how to do it, but I do enjoy this whole process. I'm very grateful. And Conan likes to star along with me too, so I appreciate everything, guys. So be well. Go Fins. Curtis out. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.